Hi guys, today I'm going to show you how to make the best buttercream. This is a Swiss meringue buttercream and I love to use this one. So for this recipe you will need the whites of 5 eggs, 4 sticks of butter, a cup and a half of sugar, a couple teaspoons of vanilla extract, and a pinch of salt. You will also need a double boiler, so the water goes in the bottom pot and then the eggs and sugar go in the top pot, and that goes over the burner and you mix it up. The reason why you need a double boiler is because if you heat the egg whites directly on your burner, then they're just going to turn into scrambled eggs. I recommend investing in one of these. This is also perfect for melting chocolate. So to start, I'm going to separate my yolks and my whites. And I'm just going to put my whites directly into my pot. Gotta go wash my hands now. Okay, my egg whites are in this pot. And next I'm going to add a cup and a half of granulated sugar and a pinch of salt. Give this a whisk, whoops. Okay, perfect. All right, I'm gonna put an inch of water in this pot, and then let's head over to our burners. Okay, so I have my egg whites, and I'm gonna put that on top of this pot, and I'm gonna put my burner on medium. And you're just gonna wanna whisk this constantly as it's heating up. So again, that way it won't turn into scrambled eggs on you. And this is done when the eggs are cooked, and the eggs are cooked when they reach 160 degrees. So make sure you have your food thermometer handy. And the sugar will also be totally dissolved by then, so you won't have any grainy bits in your buttercream. So yeah, I'm gonna turn you off for a bit, and then I will come back when this is close to done. Okay, so as your egg whites and sugar heat up, you'll start noticing that it gets like a little bit runnier, a little thinner. The sugar is starting to dissolve. Yeah, so you can also just kind of grab a little bit in between your clean fingers. And if you still feel grainy bits, then it still has a bit to go. You're not done yet. So just keep whisking and whisking. I know the whisking can be annoying, but it's really important. So that way you don't ruin all your egg whites by turning them into scrambled eggs. Because once they scramble, there's not much coming back from that. You can also take your thermometer anytime and see where you are. All right, so it's like 1:30ish right now. So we still have a ways to go. It's also a nice buttercream for decorating, for stacking cakes. I'm not sure if you can see all the cakes behind me, but I'm using all of these cakes. I'm making a tall cake for my friend's daughter. So I chose to make Swiss meringue for the buttercream because it helps with stacking all these cakes. And it's also really delicious. It's not as thick, I guess, as your standard American buttercream, which I think most people prefer. The sugar has pretty much come close to dissolving, so that's a really good thing. Great, we have hit 160. So let's turn off the heat. We're just gonna take this, be careful, it's really hot, and we are gonna go over to our mixer. Whisk attachment. Slowly pour this into your mixing bowl. Be really careful, it's very hot. And I like to use a cake scraper to get out any remaining bits, because this is great buttercream and you want to get all of it. You're gonna start mixing this on medium. You can't do anything with it until it gets to room temperature, so this takes a while. After 15 minutes, bring it up to more of a high. But yeah, we can't add our butter yet because it'll just melt. So this needs to get to room temperature. It might take 45 minutes to do it. So yeah, just let it be. I'll put up a little more. If your mixer starts getting hot, you can give it a break for a few minutes and then turn it back up again. But this must be room temperature before we do anything. So you want a nice thick room temperature meringue. All right, it's been running for a few, so I'm just gonna crank it up a little bit to number 6. Okay, so we can always check to see where we are using our handy dandy food thermometer. So let's see, 86 degrees, 87. So basically you want it cool enough such that the butter won't melt. So I think we still have a few minutes to go, but here is, I'll take this off really quick, show you guys what we're looking for. So do you see how the meringue kind of just chills there, it doesn't go anywhere? Same with here, you can do one of those upside down, it doesn't go anywhere. That's how you know it's done. I'm gonna remove my whisk attachment, we don't need it anymore. I'm gonna scrape the edges of my bowl, paddle attachment. Okay, it's gonna seem excessive, but it's not, I promise. You need 4 sticks of butter for this. And what you're gonna wanna do is just take a knife and cut these up into smaller chunks and then throw in 1 chunk at a time as your mixer is mixing on low. Wait till it gets incorporated, add another chunk. You need all 4 sticks. If you don't have all 4 sticks, it won't stiffen into buttercream. It'll just kind of be deflated. So, yes. Okay, my butter is added, and now I'm just gonna add in like 2 or so teaspoons of vanilla extract. I don't really measure out vanilla extract, I kind of measure with my heart. When you add in the vanilla extract, you'll notice that your buttercream takes a weird sort of consistency. It's just reacting to the liquid. Don't mind that, keep mixing, it'll come back together. Great. I'm gonna scrape the sides of my bowl. If for whatever reason your buttercream starts to separate, it means that maybe your butter was too cold or the vibes weren't right, I don't know. If that happens, don't panic, don't throw it away. Simply take your buttercream back to your double boiler, heat it up for like a couple minutes until it gets, like you start noticing the smallest amount of melting. Bring it back over to your mixer, put it on high, it'll whip back up into buttercream, I promise. Do not throw it away. And you know what, I might even take my advice and do that now. I mean, this buttercream is pretty incorporated, but there's still like small amounts of butter. So I'll show you what I do. Come on. Okay, so we're back over at the double boiler. Still have water in my pot. I'm gonna put this over this one. And I'm just gonna turn my burner on like medium again, or actually low, turn it on low. And I'm just gonna shove my buttercream in here. And again, this will just get rid of any, yeah, I have like microscopic butter chunks going on. And I think that's because we're in the middle of winter, my house is colder. I had my heat on 60 today, so my butter didn't get like to super room temperature. So my butter was still pretty chilly, and that's probably why we're experiencing some chunks. No problem. You don't even need all this buttercream, just some. And I'll put it up a little higher just to get the ball rolling. And basically, I'm just gonna look for like small amounts of runniness at the bottom. I'll show you. So I'm starting to get a little bit of melting action going on at the bottom. It's hard to see it through the phone, but when you start getting a little bit of melting action, so it starts getting a little wet at the bottom, take your scraper, incorporate it all up so the heat gets evenly distributed through your buttercream. Perfect. This is going to cause any extra bits of butter to go away. I'm going to turn my heat off. And it'll make a more homogeneous cream. Perfect. All right, good. Plop that back in, including some of the melty parts. Scrape your pot down, get every bit. Back on over to our mixer and mix this up on high again with the paddle attachment. It looks floppy now because of what we just did, but I promise this will mix up into beautiful buttercream. Amazing. I'm gonna give my bowl another scrape. Tastes good. I'm gonna add a little bit more vanilla extract. The vanilla extract is really important because due to all of the butter that we put in here, it's gonna naturally have a buttery sort of taste, and this will mask that. So instead of tasting like butter, it'll taste like vanilla decadence, basically. Here we have it, a beautiful Swiss meringue buttercream. One of my favorite types of buttercream right here.